I want to, at the first part, tell you a little bit about the Volkswagen Group, and then the Chattanooga engagement. And after that, feel free to ask any question you want to concerning Volkswagen, and I try to answer that. So just for the Volkswagen Group, some basic figures. You may know that the German economy is the most powerful in the European Union, so we are we are standing for 25% of the GDP of this 27 countries. And within Germany, the Volkswagen Group is the most powerful and biggest company. We built last year more than 8 million cars, had a sales revenue of 159 billion euro, a profit of close to 16 billion euro, so close to $20 billion. And we employ 502,000 people directly. And if you look at all the dealerships and after-sales business and suppliers, we think that about 10 million people are directly economically dependent on Volkswagen. That is more than Tennessee's population. If you look at the world ranking of cars, so this is by the end of 2011, we were the second biggest car company in the world. Some say the biggest because GM counts also its 30% minority stake in a Chinese company. This year we will be probably the number 3 because GM's main market, the US, are having a strong rebound, and Toyota is also coming back after their disaster of the earthquake. This is our picture of our headquarters in Wolfsburg. So it's a brick building, an old-fashioned brick building that has air conditioning since 3 years. This is the heart of the company. It's located in Wolfsburg, Germany. That's in the northern part of Germany. 20 years ago, it was 5 miles away from the Iron Curtain, so pretty periphery in Germany. We built 8.5 million cars last year, and that means we have a daily production worldwide of about 35,000 cars. There are now 99 plants worldwide, just 1 in the US, the majority in Europe. I will come back to that later. We have 502,000 employees, I already said that. And we are building and offering through the whole company about 240 different car models. So I told you we were number 2 in the world last year. And here on this graphic, you see our market share in the different important car markets in the world. And when you look at it, we always have double-digit numbers in Western Europe, Asia. We are market leader in Western Europe since 1984, and in China since 1984 as well, I guess, because for a long time we were the only car producer in China. In Asia, we have 11%. In South America, we are producing cars since 1952. So we have also a big market share. But everywhere, the market share is double-digit, except the US. When we look at the history of sales in the US, your moms and dads, maybe also grandparents, still knew the Beetle. The Beetle had its main sales in the 70s, 1969, 1970, 1971. And then you see how the numbers dropped. The worst year was 1993 with 60,000. So that was a drop by 90%. In the year 1970, we had a market share of 10% in the US market, and now we are at the 3.9. But our goal is to really increase our sales to 800,000 by 2018. And as you see, it's quite a way to go. And selling so much cars does not just happen so, and just trying to do that your best, but you have to really have a strategy. So in 2008, Volkswagen set up a strategy, a worldwide strategy, having different targets. One was to sell more than 10 million cars. One is to have the best customer satisfaction. the highest return on investment, and so on. Part of this strategy was to increase the American sales, the US sales, to 800,000. And to achieve that, we also put in place a special strategy for the US market. The US market, one was to become a volume manufacturer again. So by the time we priced ourselves out of the market, I mean, we had good cars, but the prices were pretty high. So we repositioned the Passat and the Jetta with their prices, but also with their car properties or characteristics. That's a better name. We decided for a local production to be close to the market, to have shorter reacting time, to be also have a better feeling what's going on in the market, also to produce an American car in America, and also to fence currency fluctuations. So you may wonder why the microbus is not anymore in the market here. That's because of currency fluctuations. The euro became so high that it didn't make any sense to export the car anymore to the US. We also put more attention to the dealer network because they are selling our cars. And the whole organization was internally reorganized. And a special feature for that was that we relocated our headquarters from the Detroit area to Washington. One of the reasons was also to get out of this depressive atmosphere around Detroit to be another location where you really have to spirit for a new beginning. The decision to put up a plant in the US was made public by the end of 2000, or by the middle of 2007, second half 2007. As a consequence, more than 4,000, we received mail from more than 4,000 cities and regions in the US who wanted to have that plant. 398 locations, regions, cities, communities sent in really serious applications. And then in the end, we had three regions that were left. That was Marshall in Michigan, Huntsville in Alabama, and Chattanooga in Tennessee. We had a real catalog that was done by an agency, a relocation agency, but we had a catalog of criteria. It starts with workforce. Is there an available workforce? Chattanooga had the advantage that there was an industry experienced workforce. Chattanooga had an industry that was in decline since decades, but people knew what industrial work was. They also had a quite good education level. Logistics was quite good. Chattanooga, our site there has connections to two railway companies that are competing. So we are shipping 85% of our cars by rail, and that was the target right from the beginning. So we needed a rail connection. I-75 from Florida to Detroit is passing by. An airport is close by. The Tennessee River is close by. So logistics-wise, the distance to the big ports is not too far. So logistics-wise, it was quite an ideal location. Another point, the incentives. We received quite a lot of incentives for infrastructure and for training. Also a tax break for 30 years. Well, the big three have it as well. But there was especially the infrastructure, I will come back to that later, is fantastic. Quality of life, Tennessee River, boating. You have the Smoky Mountains close by. The area itself has the Cumberland Trail, has mountain biking, dragon flying. So it's all what you can think of. And the political support was really good. So there was, for us, there was and still is no difference between Democrats and Republicans. They are, when it comes to Volkswagen, they are really bipartisan, and it's a pleasure to work with all the local and the state's representative. Yeah, what we are doing there, that was the plan in 2008, to set up a plant with a body shop, a paint shop, and an assembly. A bigger plant also can use a press shop where you have the panels that are then stamped and being pressed into the right configuration. Then you have the body shop where the body is being welded. And the welded body goes then to the paint shop, is being painted. And in the assembly shop, all these parts that belong to a car, like tires, engine, and so on, is being assembled. So we have this 3 parts of a main plant. The site is 1,400 acres. Yeah, you see it's $1 billion investment. We just building one product. This is the new Passat that was launched in September 2011. Our capacity was planned for 150,000. This is what we will produce this year, 150, 155. And for the next year, we plan a capacity increase to 180,000, excuse me. We promised to create 2,000 jobs. Now, today, we have 3,350. So that worked very well. Those are the phases of the whole project. In 2008, after the decision was made published, we prepared the site. In 2009, we had, you see that's in German. I missed it. We put up the buildings. In 2010, we installed the equipment, and 2011 was the ramp up of the car. We not only built the plant here at that time, but at the same time, we also built the first pre-series of the car. So it's not that you construct a car and then you put it into operation. You construct a car and then you see how can it be produced, and sometimes you also modify parts. And you modify equipment as well. So you have, we have this pre-series cars, and then we had the start of production in early 2011. And as you can see here, it's also a slow start. You produce 2-3 cars a day, and today we are at a speed of 35 jobs per hour, so we produce 35 cars per hour. And also see the red curve was the planning, and the blue curve was the real. It's not always according to plan. It still continues. 2012, we started to export cars not only to Mexico and Canada, but also to the Arabian Gulf coast countries. So that's around the Arabian Gulf, and to South Korea. Next week or the week after next week, we will have a press release saying we exported the 20,000th car to that area. Yeah, coming to the plant. That was the site in 2008. So it was a former ammunition plant, 1,400 acres. In this area, there still are a lot of bunkers. The area is much bigger than the cleared area here. That was an ammunition plant running from the early 30s until after the Vietnam War. Then the community of Chattanooga had it and was looking for an investor, more or less 30 years. But the strategy was, and that was the clue to the success, they didn't give away parts of it. They just wanted a big company to invest. And they finally made it with Volkswagen. This is how it looks today. You see the plant, or you see more or less 3 units. One is the academy for the education of the workforce. That was one of the incentives, as we had Marshall in Michigan and said, well, they have an educated workforce. We got this academy as an incentive saying, well, we can give you all the conditions to educate a workforce. Then here we have the plant. There's the supplier park in the back. And what is quite always visible is the bridge. We have a clear concept. There is no traffic, car traffic inside the plant. Everybody has to park outside on these lots. That means also for managers walking half a mile into and out of the plant. All the walking traffic comes in from the east, goes to the west. All the logistics traffic that is here, the part outside, comes from the north, and the cars go out to the south, where they are shipped by train. You'll see some other pictures later. For the plant, we received last December the platinum certificate from the US Green Buildings Council. So this is the first and so far only car plant in the world that has a LEED certification. That's a pretty long list of environmental criteria you have to fulfill to get it. And we also received, in the beginning of this year, the Edison Green Award in gold. So it's not only the car that has won awards for its good characteristics, but also the plant. And here we have the elements again. So you see from the sequence of production, the stamped parts come into the plant, go to the body shop. In the body shop, they are being welded by robots. Then the main body goes to the paint shop, is being painted there in a very special process. And then it's going out to assembly. In the assembly, it's being, well, assembled, then tested, and then delivered to the loading yard. One of the principles of the plant is that it has short ways to enforce personal communication. We try to avoid communication by telephone or email. Our other plants worldwide and all our competitor plants, you usually have to use a car or telephone to talk to each other. We wanted to avoid that, so this is the reason why we put all the important checkpoints. Every shop has a checkpoint. We put them together in a close diameter so that people can walk. We knew from other plants when there is a mistake or it's a problem, you think twice, should I go there? Should I pick up the phone? So and sometimes you say, well, it doesn't matter, and then you have your problems persisting. Here, we have those checkpoints close by so that people walk. The same applies for our office truck. We don't have an administration buildings. This is our spine. This is in the middle, this yellow thing. We all have cubicles of the same size, and no matter if it's plant manager or an intern, they have the same equipment. So, and here you see we are employing about 800 people on 2 floors on the whole length of the plant. The advantage is you are very fast at any place you want to go to in the plant. So it's all walking distance. Yeah, here's a picture from the body shop. The body shop employs about 190 people per shift. Most of the work is being done by robots. You will see it in a minute. Only the checks and repairs, they are being done by men. So we have 380 robots and 190 people working there per shift. The paint shop is also more or less automatized. We have 170 people working there. This paint shop is a very special paint shop. It's the first time that we have a paint shop that is so energy saving and special waste avoiding. What does it mean? First, if you have a normal car, you have the paint in layers. We omitted one layer of the paint that helps us to save one drying process. So usually after every paint step, the whole car is going into a 7 yards long oven that is heated to about 200 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And there the car is heating and dried, and then the body goes to the next painting step. So we omitted one of the painting steps, and we omitted one of the drying processes that saves about 20% of energy. The paint shop is the most energy effective facility in the plant. Then you have a special procedure to paint the cars with robots and with different charges on the paint and on the car as well. But no matter what you do, you always have an overspray of about 20%. In conventional paint shops, you get rid of this overspray by flushing it out with water. That results in a paint sludge that is toxic waste, which you have to dry then and then to deposit it somewhere. What we do here is we have a dry scrubber, so it washes it out with an airstream and combines it with limestone dust and neutralizes this. That means we do not have any special waste anymore, and we can use this material to combine it with cement and have it reused as pavement and so on. Yeah, and then we recycle the air, and also because we do not have burners anymore to warm up the paint sludge to dry it, we also save a lot of CO2. Yeah, and the assembly then is the last part. So this is what you classically see always see in the TV news. This is where all the parts are being equipped. Internal communication is very important. So you see the screen with this, of course, green band sections, but usually you also see immediately when there is a problem somewhere, you have a yellow blinking, and when the line stops, you have a red blinking. And at the same moment, there's a melody playing so that people know there's a problem. We have an internal philosophy that is called Think Blue. That is environmental protection. Our problem was, or our PR and marketing problem was, that a lot of times green is associated with tree huggers and pretty basic environmental protection, while we want to show that we do environmental protections by high tech, a good mentality and a good will, but also a lot of investment. So we have Think Blue initiative. All our environmental sound cars in Europe are blue motion models. For example, we will launch our new Golf. This is the volume model in February with a version of a TDI engine that has a mileage of 61 miles per gallon as a normal car. So this is for the cars. This is motion, and we also have factory, and this is for plants. So here we have just a short overview about our most effective environmental measurements. I don't want to go into detail now, but just want to make you aware that we pay a lot of attention to environmental protection because we think in the long term it pays really off, and in the short term at least it saves you energy and gives you also an image of producing clean cars in a clean factory. We have the one and only LEED certified, platinum certified plant in the world, and we received this by the US Green Buildings Council in December last year. That was very important for us because we designed the plant right from the beginning to have the first LEED Platinum certification. At the moment, we are working on Tennessee's biggest solar park. So by December, we will switch on or power up the solar park. The solar park, if you look in the corner and down here, is almost as big as the plant itself. It's more than 30 acres. It will contribute about 12.5% of all the energy we need for the car production. One of the conditions for us receiving the incentives we received was that we will employ 2,000 people. So we had in 2009 we had to offer 1,200 jobs, and for this 1,200 jobs we received 35,000 applications. Meanwhile, we have received more than 100,000 applications, and we really were in the situation to choose the best. So the normal assessment rate or the success rate at assessment centers at the moment for production team members is at about 8%. That means 92% don't make it. So we still have the potential to really choose among the best. And our team is really good and motivated because we achieved every ambitious goal. And here you see we also already, as we noticed that the car has a big market success, we started ramping up. And at the moment we are at 3,350 employees at the plant directly, plus the supplier park, plus the suppliers that are located in the area. So more than 5,000 jobs have been created since we came there in 2008. So we are pretty proud of that, but we still, this is the program that everybody has to go through. Common Core means just 1 week learning what Volkswagen is. A A lot of our employees don't know what Volkswagen is and who we are, and they also don't know our products. So one of the day is just driving on a racetrack with Volkswagens to see how the cars are behaving. And then we have a production system that's more or less explanation. Fundamental skills is really hands-on working, how to help the tools, how to use them, what is safety. And then we go into the professional rooms in the production and then on the line. All in all, it takes about 6 weeks until a pure person that has been hired for production is employed at the assembly line. Our challenge at the moment is to create a company culture. So we have, when we came as an international team here to Chattanooga to put up the plant, we had 200 expats coming from 35 different nations. And the Americans who were coming, they came from a lot of different companies, some in the automotive industry, some not. And to form a team spirit out of this diverse workforce, that is our main challenge. And then we have 2 other topics. One is Think Blue. That is, at a special point, you are at the limits with your technological capabilities. And then it's the people. Do they switch off the light? Do they turn off the water? Do they shut down their computer? So it's really behavior, everyday behavior. And this is what we try to create with our Think Blue culture, that people are really aware of what they are doing and when they are behaving in a way that it affects the environment. And then passion for detail. This is our slogan for creating quality. So as there is a lot of potential for creating better quality and the customer really honors quality, we try to build it on right from the beginning. And this is not a matter of measuring, of precise robots. This is a matter of people. And this is the third focus area we are focusing on in our internal communication. And this is what we have just begun, and we are quite aware that this will last some years. We have 2 official company languages, German and English. That's the theory. The practice is that a lot of even our managers barely speak English, or they don't like to because they are feeling insecure. So it's always good to know German when you try to pursue a career. When you are really going into communication, you should at least have a basic understanding. We have now courses in Chattanooga because all our employees ask us, we do not understand everything, especially when they are getting excited and they are talking about very important things. They often switch to German. We want to understand that. And so it makes sense to have another language. Even in theory, you don't have to. And it's always good to have a basic understanding of the language to the country you're coming to. I was some time in Spain. That was quite interesting, especially just from a German perspective. We tried to speak Spanish, we Germans. And then when it got a little bit more excited, we switched to English. And when it was really hot, then we all switched to German. So, and that makes you just to understand better. In Chattanooga, we have German courses. Now, the first Americans who never spoke English, who never spoke German before, after 1.5 years, some of them have real working contracts in Germany. So they went over there, and they are now integrated people in their teams. They are not belonging to Chattanooga anymore. They are now in the internet, or they have German contracts, and those are, at least what I think, usually better than Americans, because you have much more social benefits, and you have written contracts, what you usually don't have in the US. I was completely shocked. That was fun for me when my team guy asked me, how much vacation do I have? And said, well, look in your contract. I said, I don't have a contract. I said, what? And went to our HR, and what's that, and what's going on? I said, no, we don't have a contract here. That's normal. So in Germany, you have contracts. You have also more vacation than you have here. So it's and you're quite good paid. And you pay taxes, a lot of taxes. 40 to 50%, just that you know. So it makes more sense if you really want to pursue a career in one of the companies, it's good to learn the language. I heard also from our colleagues that we hired from Japanese manufacturers that also they had Japanese courses and they were in Japan, so it makes sense. And it gives you sometimes a better understanding, and you put aside the working environment. It sometimes gives you a better understanding when you hear the news, because when you speak a language, you better realize the kind of things that are soft, that are emotions, that are culture, that are history, that are tradition. That's easier than to understand things, and sometimes it makes you also a little bit more tolerant.